welcome to another episode of the Silver and Black Coffee Hour, Boston-based San Antonio Spurs podcast. And don't you know it, we've got Spurs basketball to talk about, real-life Spurs basketball. Yes, pray hands indeed, Zach Montana, Aaron Blackerby, my good friends. Zach, how you doing today, man?
Doing great. Saturday morning. Feels great outside. Went to the Spurs game last night. They looked great. Both A and B team looked fantastic. So no complaints on my end. How you doing, AB?
I'm good. I watched the Spurs game last night after being at ACL, which I happily left early. So getting an Uber before the end of the headliners was pretty exciting for me, but I don't know if it was the A and B team, Zach. I think we were still like A plus B plus C. Just there's still so many dudes just sitting out.
It's
It's still awesome
right.
to see though.
I'm excited to talk about it.
And we were talking a little bit before we started recording about our UNC status. Gotta give a special birthday shout out to one of the UNCs on this team, Keldon Johnson, who is 26, which is kind of crazy for an UNC.
Yeah, I saw the age this morning and I was like, what? There's no way he's only 26. Sure enough, he's only 26.
Oh man, where has my baby boy gone? He's 26 years old, off his health insurance, like you said, Tom, on Twitter. His parents, at least.
That's wild. Like it's he's the longest tenured Spur, right? This is year 7 for Keldon Johnson, and we're going to talk about Keldon Johnson on this show because he's been having a really, really, really nice little preseason here out of the gate. He's looking like optimized Keldon Johnson. Um, yeah, I right now I'm in North Jersey, West Orange, and like as a New Yorker. Um, like it's all of our birthright to sort of look down on New Jersey, right? But now I am in such a nice part of New Jersey that it's looking down on me. So that's weird. That's a bit unfamiliar and uncomfortable. Our guy Dylan Harper is from right around here. And I followed up on the bagel question by getting his order, which I've had before. Bacon, egg, and cheese, hash brown patty. He likes a plain bagel. I prefer everything. He's only 9. He's still a kid. He's 19. Maybe the poppy seeds are too much for him. I don't know. Um,
Your taste buds change every 7 years. So he's still in that level when he hits 21. He gets to introduce, alcohol into his diet and maybe everything bagels.
yeah, he's got time, but I mean, it is a really goated breakfast. I think you combine those things, right? Bacon, egg, cheese, potato, carbohydrates. Like, we all love our breakfast tacos. Um, but there's just something about splitting a bagel down the middle and looking at it, I don't
I
know.
will say it
Um,
looked unbelievable.
it's ridiculous, man. It's different here. We got some decent bagels in Texas, but I'm a when in Rome guy. I think everything's got a season. There's a time and a place for things. When I'm here, I eat bagels. When I'm down in Texas, I eat tacos.
Or
That's just the way it should be.
Well, I mean, shout out to Rosen's Bagels here in
Yes,
town, at
Rosen
least.
slaps.
I'll give a shout out to my buddies Tom and Joe, who run that shop, and those dudes are great. So Tom, I mean, basically what I'm hearing is, during media day, you asked Dylan Harper about this, what his preferred breakfast bagel sandwich was. He let you know, and you're so infatuated with the answer on top of his performance last night that you're like, I've got to go tour the land that this person is from. Like, obviously, we would have loved to have gone to China and done some further journalistic input on the Shaolin monks there, but that's like a really high price. Tom, though, he's doing the deep research on the grounds that Dylan Harper grew up in northern New Jersey. So
I was on the
what
first
other
flight
Spurs
out.
podcast is doing that, you know?
You're not gonna
Yeah.
find it anywhere else. And yeah, can confirm it's actually really nice out here. I'm still sort of grappling with that part, but you know, I guess so. Um, shall we do show business? We got to do show business. We're in the business of show business, and this show could be a business. We're getting there. We're getting to that point. You know, sponsor the show. Throw us some dollars.
So
We'll tell the people about you. In the meantime, like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends, tell your enemies. Um, let us know questions that you want us to answer on the next episode. Uh, Let us know your favorite bagel sandwich and pizza choice. Um, and did I miss anything there?
your un poquito dollars as an advertiser could do más for us. So if you got some spare change lying around that you're just like, I need to get into the sports advertising business, holler at your boys. Silver and Black Coffee Hour at gmail.com.
We'll do it. We'll do it like NASCAR, baby. I'll be in here. I'll be doing the post game. Like, wow, Dylan Harper was as fast as Xfinity Internet out there, and
You gonna wear? You
know,
gonna have all the badges on your shirt too, or what? Walking billboard.
100%. Hundo
We're
P.
putting together a pitch deck, and in one of the tiers that we have, it is tattoo your advertisement on Zach's forehead. It's $25,000. Zach, we're not just doing this for 1,000 or anything. We're going to make sure we cover costs. But
Cover that trip to China.
did Zach know about that? Did Zach know about that before I said this? No, but he hasn't said no since I said it, so it's on the
Look,
table.
I'm for the brand,
It's
all right?
locked in.
I'm for the fucking brand.
There you go. Team player. That's why we love you, Zach. One of the many reasons. Shall we talk about the first game of the preseason in earnest against the team from China, the Long Lions? AB, you had this one. Give me your takeaways.
Yeah. Okay. Whoa. What a cool team we have here. A lot of fun. First thing to know about this game and kind of the trend of the preseason is Mitch Johnson is sitting out people quite a bit. So this one he had Harper, Vassell, Sohan, Fox, Olynyk, and Jordan McLaughlin all out this game. Congratulations, by the way, to Jordan McLaughlin and Kelly Olynyk on your children being born recently. And shout out to the Spurs for giving them a little paternity leave to enjoy that. So, with that being said, the Spurs started this game with no official point guard. Do you guys hear that though? It's the sound of Point Wemby. Oh yeah, something that we saw in the 2024 Olympics. Something that we kind of seen in this last few years with the Spurs. We had a little bit of Point Wemby in this game. And honestly, we did not need a lot of people to beat this team that was still housing Frank Kaminsky and Victor Oladipo. We scored 74 points in the first half. I don't care if you're playing against air. That is a lot of points to score in a half. Wemby dished out 7 assists in 16 minutes. One of the things that really stood out to me in this game was his pocket passing. He was really messing around with various like tight passes with folks, and I'm seeing a lot more of driving and kicking and a little more of his own change of speed. And I think you guys will also further dive into this, but Carter Bryant got a lot of run in this game. The interesting stat I want to bring up, and this is strictly from off the top of my dome on this. Victor Wembanyama in with the initial starters, which were Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, Julian Champagnie, and Lindy Waters in this game. They went full out, 5-out offense. Once again, to y'all's point, what I'm seeing a lot of with this team is there is a lot of cut to space and cut to make space, which is really cool. Then something interesting happened. Our big free agent signing, Luke Cornett, comes in. Offense completely changes into pick and rolls. That's where the offense is initiated out of, which was fascinating. Then something that I know the boys have been wanting to see since we signed him, we got Twin Towers, inverted pick and roll with Wemby and Luke Cornett. And so in the time that they shared the court, I counted 9 pick and rolls in the first half. 3 of those were directly with Wemby and Cornett, 7 in total with Cornett on the court. And I'd say that they had about 5 possessions of Wemby and Cornett together. So I thought that was fascinating. And look, we blew out the team. I think someone said that we didn't technically cover the money line, but like if you're gambling on preseason, De'Aaron Fox told us during media day, there's a hotline number for you.
Call the number.
The number. Yeah. And you mentioned sort of the pocket passing from Wemby, the short roll passing, the unselfishness in this game. The play that like jumps out to me is he set a screen, he caught the ball like on the short roll. Sort of, it wasn't like the most direct pass to him, and he kind of moved his body. He caught it, he turned around, he saw Keldon on a back cut, just in one motion, caught it, bounced it to him, got it back, and then got it back to Keldon, and it was extremely unselfish. And Jeff McDonald of the San Antonio Express News asked him about that approach in this game with 7 assists, and Wemby had like the bar of the preseason so far, which was, yeah, I probably passed up some shots that I could make with my eyes closed, but it was to give my teammates shots they could make in their sleep. Yes.
I think sometimes he comes up with these things because English is his second language. And so, when you're learning a new language, you kind of learn it like very, like the logic of the language, but there is also like a culture to the language with the way you speak. And so sometimes I think Wemby, like the French language is a little more poetic than English. And so
Yes.
he is like translating it into that. And then it turns into these beautiful soliloquies from him.
And they're like extremely cocky, but also very matter of fact. It's very French. It's very wonderful. And it's a theme that sort of carried into the next game, right? Where they play the Heat, not the crispest Wemby game, but still you're watching him process quickly, make decisions, and then also just use his physical tools to make plays that nobody else can really make. I cut together a video of the just sort of the passing highlights from him in this game. And I said he was making Jokic passes, and a lot of people were like, "Yep, that's what that is." And then a lot of other people were like, "I've seen Andre Drummond do that." And I'm like, "Okay, there's no policing you."
Welcome to Twitter.
But like, I mean, it's kind of like, in Terminator 2 when the T-1000 can just like copy whatever he sees, and then because he's a killer robot, it's like way more dangerous, obviously. That's sort of what I'm getting from Wemby. Like, he's just got to touch it and see it, and he can just sort of soak it into his game.
Well, don't need to stop you. Hakeem Olajuwon was shocked in some of those videos. He's like, "Have you done that before?" Wait a second, like what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, and the playmaking, like the first pass where he like pump fakes up and then just whips it past Norm Powell's head. He had Norm Powell looking around like he was a kid in a grocery store, like, "Where's mom?" Like when you pump fake your dog with the fetch ball, slinging it over the top. Champagny, the beneficiary of a lot of these passes, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. But I mean, just simply because Wemby has the longest arms we've ever seen. And he's smart with how he uses them. He can make plays and passes that nobody else can make. So, some really, really special passing from him in this game. 5 turnovers. Got to clean it up a little bit. But this whole preseason, he's been the initiator. Most of his baskets are unassisted. And so he's doing a lot right now. That should obviously lighten up a little bit with more Fox and Castle and Harper. Something that I found interesting in this game, Devin Vassell made his debut. Need his shooting, right? And he was 0 of 4 from 3 in the debut, but 12 points and a team high plus 16. So that's interesting to see. And then I thought that the first play of the game, after timeout plays, and especially first play of the game, it's like, sort of gives you a window into the mind of the coach a little bit. And it was like a double screen up top, dribble handoff, Wemby rolls, and it looks like he's rolling, but then he sort of pops to the corner, and he's just got to take like one little sidestep to go from a roll to the basket to setting a screen for the shooter in the corner. And so I'll be really interested to see how Mitch Johnson gets Devin Vassell involved in the flow of the offense moving forward. Some guys that stuck out in this one, Keldon, 19 points, 7 of 9 from the floor, 6 rebounds. Like, he's looked very good. And then Champagnie.
Glue guy.
Yes. Oh, my God, yes. Champagnie, 15 points, 5 of 7 from 3. And then Luke Cornett, 9 points, 11 rebounds, 7 of them offensive in 16 minutes of play. So, yes, we're seeing a theme here with the players who sort of stuck out in this one, and that is sort of continued to the Jazz game, which you were at last night, Zach.
Yeah, the game was fun. I do want to touch on something before I get into it. It's with the Wemby thing. I think watching him pregame yesterday, they're working a lot on his post moves. They're working a lot with him down there in the paint. He spotted up for 3, hit 3 threes on each spot, and that was really all he did pregame for 3. And the rest was in the paint, doing a little. Him and Devin were doing a little 2v2, really it was 2v5, where they were working against 5 coaches that were on defense about how to get into space and whatnot, which I also thought was interesting as well, with Wemby running the pick and roll and with Devin running the pick and roll, both initiating the offense. But the game last night was awesome. I think we saw the Spurs depth in full display, and we really haven't even seen it in full display, because there was 4 players that are going to get significant minutes this season that didn't get opportunity to play and are still working their way back. I think Wemby was fantastic in the first half. Started off with a bang 3, then he went right at Nurkic, threw his shoulder right into him, and you're like, okay, this is what we're doing. I mean, had 10 foul shots, which is we'll get into that in a bit, but it was just an all in all a great performance from, I think, everyone involved. The passing really caught my attention yesterday in the second quarter. There was a play where the ball started in the corner, whipped all the way back to the opposite corner with Harrison Barnes, then rotated back again to Harrison Barnes. He missed a 3. Spurs get the rebound, and Keldon Johnson hits a 3 to kind of like, okay, we needed that. Like, that was deserved after that type of ball movement. And then, of course, David Jones-Garcia, I mean, what a guy. I mean, he came in there in the fourth quarter and really, yeah, he's a bucket. Harrison Ingram said it best last night postgame, that guy is a bucket, and also saw a quote from that he wants to prove his dad right by being in the NBA, and his dad passed away a few years ago. So that is
he made a promise.
Yeah.
He made a promise to his dad to play an NBA game, and so that's why he didn't go to the
Right.
EuroLeague. Something kind of further fascinating in this game, Dylan Harper's debut, right? 0 turnovers.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that. He came in there in the middle of the first quarter. They ran a play that they usually ran for Tony Parker back in the day to get him open, to get him a nice little look in the lane, to get him feeling, and then he gets in the lane, gets Cornett a little layup alley-oop, and then throws a oop to Wemby, and then Wemby gets him a little assist, and then he hits a 3 in the corner. You're like, okay, this guy's got it. And he gets in the lane. It's just a change of direction. In and out dribble, gets in, uses left hand on the right side of the glass. He's a player. And then Keldon Johnson was fantastic last night. And we got to give a shout out to Devin Vassell. I feel like Devin Vassell found his footing yesterday. It's always hard to judge somebody on their first game back. And when Miami, he's just getting the groove back. And last night he was fantastic. 6 for 8 from the floor, 18 points. Got to give a shout and credit where credit's due. My interesting stat of the night is Wemby tied a career high for most free throws in a half with 9 made. That is a good sign for what's to come. If he's going to be playing in the post and going to be drawing a lot of contact, he deserves those calls. He deserves to get, if he's putting his weight into somebody and they're hacking, I don't care if he's 7'10". That's a foul. So it's good to see that he got to the line, 9 free throws made. It's only happened 2 other times. The last time it happened was in 2024. So, but obviously that was really the last time he played, so it's kind of throws off the numbers and whatnot. But 10 free throw attempts and a half, I'll take that from the star player. That's what we always say. Those star players, they get to the line, and that's what bumps up those points per game and puts people in the running for MVP and first team NBA, second team NBA. So those were good stats. And shout out to friend of the show, Harrison Ingram, had a great second half, had a good 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a good dunk late in the game. Glue guy. He even said that he's trying to find his mark on this team. Feels a lot more comfortable, so I want to give a little shout to him as well.
He actually did something different. He did something different last night where he was playing more in the post. He's kind of been this stretch ball handler, both with the Austin Spurs and in the preseason and bringing the ball up. And he was even doing that in the scrimmage game. And in this game, they seem to have more focus of him playing down in the post and just getting hit. And I thought he played really well with that.
He honestly, and in pregame, I watched him and his shooting, his shooting has clearly improved. His 3-point shot has clearly improved. He was comfortable pulling one up yesterday from top of the key. And it's good to see that he's improving. And so I love to see that. Friend of the show, keep killing it.
So Zach, being at the game, how were the Jackals?
Yo, they were actually pretty lit. It's a preseason game on a Friday night. You really don't know what to expect. And they were out. Girls, guys, they were deep. They were getting after it. Our seats for when we're sitting for media, we're across the gym from them. I could hear them loud and clear. And when they showed Manu on the Jumbotron, we got an Ole, Ole, Manu chant going for about a minute.
Yeah, I've been so curious about it. It sounded like pretty loud on the broadcast last night. And I was like looking at the crowd. I was like, oh, those Jackals are really doing their job, man. Because it's a preseason game. It's not going to be like filled out, but they were rocking and rolling. I could tell, and just leading the team. So shout out to the Jackals.
They get there early. They cheer for every player that comes out and gets their warm up pregame. They have a chant for each player. So I think it's a pretty cool concept, and and of course, it's only going to grow as the team gets better and as they improve and get more sophisticated on what they're doing and how they want to get after it. So shout out to the Jackals.
Hell yeah! Well, fellas, we've seen a scrimmage and 3 games, so we've got about 4 points of data right now for this team, and I think we want to get into a couple of trends that we've seen. But before we do on trends that we've seen, I want to I pulled this up this morning before joining the show, asking what are some trends from the preseason that typically correlate into regular season success. Here are a few of them. Scoring, points per game. We've had 2 now halves where we scored 20 plus points. Last night, 72 in the first half. 3-point shooting rate. We're not doing great there right now. Pace of play. Yeah, I haven't looked that up. Preseason win percentage. It's got a moderate positive correlation as well. And those are kind of like the main ones to show. To that 3-point percentage, though, I have a question to ask y'all, and please don't look this up. Okay. Who has the highest 3-point percentage on the team right now?
Either Julian or Keldon.
Know this one.
But who? You can't split.
I think it's
guess which one.
Julian.
Okay, Tom, what do you think?
It's Julian, and I know because I have prepared a little bit of a pop quiz.
So
for
we're
you,
pop
gentlemen.
quizzing each other.
So Uno
Tom,
reverse card.
Tom, it's not Julian. It's Keldon.
Oh,
Keldon shooting
Really?
66.7% from 3 right now, where Julian is shooting 64.3.
oh, we're split. Talk about split hairs.
According to NBA.com.
Is that including? Okay. So here's a fun one. Whoever answers first wins the point, unless you're wrong, in which case you lose. Who leads the Spurs in each of these following statistical categories? Let's start with points.
Keldon.
Correct. How about assists?
Wemby.
Yep. How about
Julian.
three-pointers made?
Julian.
Correct. He's scoring over 80% of his points from 3.
Roll. Knows his
Nice.
role.
Who leads the team?
Showed off the mid-range game though
Yeah,
yesterday too. Yeah, I mean, he dropped that dude, looked
Yeah,
at him,
a little
looked
bit
at
of that.
him, and then he was like, Udonis Haslam impression, baseline
Udonis
jumper.
Haslam.
Anytime I play pickup with someone and they're hitting
and how
like
about-
baseline jumpers, I'm like, oh, you got that Udonis Haslam game in you.
How about steals? Who leads the team in steals?
I want to say Flagler.
Deals. Ugh. Who is it? Wow.
It's Champagny again. He's doing
3
his
and
best
D
Danny Green
guy,
impersonation
okay.
out there. Yeah, not so bad. But
The dude is about to
the
get
thing
paid.
that I want to talk about,
The best
I think he
contract
will.
in the
the
NBA.
way that he's carved out a career for himself. Yeah, I mean, kudos to Julian Champagny. But the guy that we've got to talk about, arguably the biggest off-season addition for this team, at least in terms of immediate impact.
Oh, yeah.
Luke Cornett.
Oh, yeah.
guys. Like the amount that we talked last year about this team just needing a good backup center, and then they got the best one available. We knew that it was going to have a significant impact, right, on a lot of parts of the game where this Spurs team has struggled a little bit. We get 48 minutes per game of elite rim protection. That's going to be great. It already is pretty great. But let's start with the rebounding, because he's sort of differentiated himself there. He's averaging like under 20 minutes a game, 7 rebounds per game, and nearly half of them are offensive. So here's what that means for the Spurs in terms of scoring points. Last year, they averaged 12.6 second chance points per game on 9.8 offensive rebounds per game. This preseason, it's 18.3 second chance points per game and 14.7 offensive rebounds. So that is like a 50% increase. Obviously, small sample size. But
Tom, we haven't talked about
we're
the
working
most
with the data we got.
we haven't talked about the most important part of Luke Cornett's game, and that is his hair. He has the most interesting way of percolating sweat. It's just in the front. It's like the front is matted down and the back it's like a sweat mullet. Like basketball business in the front, I'm ready for the club in the back.
Basketball business in the front.
Like, I am so fascinated by this. Every time I see him, I'm like, Luke Cornett's been playing 5 minutes and like his hair is sweated in the front, but he's still ready. You know, I'm so impressed by it.
You know, the one thing
I saw a tweet last night that was like, Luke is red as hell. You know, like he plays for 3 minutes and he just gets
What I
red.
noticed
That's
with
how you know
him-
he's gonna be good. Shout out to the block
second
lobster,
coming.
Yak Turtle.
What I noticed about him is every time he rolls to the paint, you could see he chops his feet. It's hilarious. Watch it next time. He's chopping his feet because he's expecting to get a lob every single time he gets to the lane. And honestly, he's been getting a lot of lobs from the boys. So he's prepared himself, and he's chopping the feet to get offensive rebounds too, and it's clearly paying off. So
That Harper lob to him yesterday where he was yelling before he was dunking, and then if you look in the background, Keldon knew what was happening, and he was already like, I was just like, oh my God, this is so much fun.
Speaking of the lobs, right? The interior, right, is going to be big for this team, and really on the defensive end of the floor, I'm excited for what Cornette is going to bring in terms of the stability and the 24/7, 365 rim protection. Last year, opponents scored over 50 points in the paint against the Spurs. This preseason, that's down to
Holy
36
shit.
points in the paint. Defensive rating last year, before the All-Star break, so before Wemby went down, was this team was giving up 114 points per 100 possessions. This preseason, it's 103.8. The best in the league last year for a team was the Thunder at 106.
Holy shit, man.
So Luke Cornette.
and I don't think we were talking
Man.
about. They don't even have
Obviously, it's not all Luke Cornette, but
but they still don't have Sohan, and they're still not playing Kelly Olynyk either. And those are two other bigs that are going to help that as well. So this is, and I think that's why you've only seen Wemby and Cornette in these little bit of stints with each other, because Mitch is like, oh, I need to keep these guys fresh because I still have two other guys that I'm still not playing that play this exact role too. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, God damn, Tom, that's a crazy stat that you just pulled out. I don't know that Kelly's going to get like that much run, but I have said, and I feel like the preseason so far has been really indicative of where the current CBA is. It's not so much about having a top heavy team, but having a spaced out a talent. And I mean, that's kind of one of the other trends I've seen, especially the last two games where the Jazz and the Heat both had like regular rotation players, starters, like still in those games at the end of it. And we're throwing out, frankly, Lindy Waters has gotten like the Julian Champagny treatment of 2 years ago, where, hey, Lindy, you will start the game and you will be in blowout minutes. That's been interesting to see. And then Mitch Johnson.
shout out to the hall pass, man. He's letting that thing rip too.
He
He's
can rip
second on
it.
the team and made threes per game.
He's doing great, but then also Mitch is like, Carter Bryant, you're gonna just play, go out there and be a dog, and he's doing that
Shot last
as
night.
well.
Big
Yeah.
shot last night. Walked into a three. I mean,
Not-
come on now. That's confidence.
He is balling, and he is showing that demon-like tendency. And man, he's gotten bigger, I'd say, even since summer league, of just seeing the way that he's bodying these dudes, like coming right into the league like this. So that's been crazy. The other trend I want to bring up again is on this 5-out offense and what it looks like. One of the points that you made, Zach, earlier, especially last night with Dylan Harper's debut. So his first points off of on offense with Harrison Barnes, sets it to Harrison Barnes. Luke Cornette sets a backstring pick. Dylan Harper technically on that is supposed to then set a pick for Vassell in the corner to go out. But he saw no one was clogging the paint. And that's part of the offense, is being able to spread that out. And both he and Harrison Barnes, basketball IQ savants here, go, this is easier than what we had going. Boom. Made the bright read real easy there. In the second half, we saw this again with Harrison Ingram. What this does, once again, it's about cutting to space on the court and cutting to make space. And so we're seeing a lot of that right now with this offense that I think is going to make it just an even more entertaining team to watch. As well. I mean, have you guys noticed any of that, especially on the offensive end, that it's Zach, it's not your daddy's Spurs offense out there. It's the ball's still moving.
The ball, I mean, the ball was flying around yesterday in the second quarter, and they were running that. It was when Cornette was on the court, it was when Wemby was on the court, it was when they were both off the court. This team has a continuity with each other, and I think it plays off all this, we hear about them being with each other over the summer. I think we're seeing this chemistry really intact from a team as a whole, not from 3 players. It's the whole team is playing great basketball. I mean, it's fun to watch. It was a very entertaining game to watch. And you're right. Space kills. And think about the space when you have Dylan Harper going downhill and De'Aaron Fox going downhill, and there's no one in the lane. What do you do as a defense? Good luck.
And when you're trying to guard Wemby and guys have to jump in front of him, and he's now making really, really good reads when defenders do that, finding the open man, making the unselfish pass. I've been heartened by how many of those passes he makes, and then all the defenders' heads whip around.
It happened again last night.
Highlight, right? You got 5 guys staring at the 7'5".
It happened last night. Tommy had the whip pass across the court, and it's one of those, and it's right in Keldon Johnson's pocket. You're like, that's a ridiculous pass. Like, you shouldn't be making that pass.
Let's chat a little bit more about Wemby. There's a few thoughts I have here. One trend I'm seeing, and I started seeing this in the scrimmage, I saw him not do this as much at the beginning of the Heat game, but then did it. And then last night he was back on this. I see a real lack of hesitation when he gets the ball. I see an instinctual way that he's going about the game. And part of it makes me think about this article I saw from newly appointed Spurs beat writer for The Athletic, Jared Weiss. He wrote a really cool article further about Wemby's training this season called CLA training. It's something, again, that the Cavaliers have also instituted. And it's about thinking about problems differently while instinctually. I really want to have Jared on the pod sometime soon to further discuss this, to get a little more in depth, because after reading that and then seeing these games, I'm seeing this instinctual movement from him. The other thing I want to bring up, Zach, and I think you already kind of highlighted it, but recently, the Thinking Basketball guys have been doing this series on best player peaks. And their most recent one was talking about Shaq. And what Shaq needed was elite slashers. And so that early Kobe Bryant days, he was an elite slasher to the group. And we're seeing now this more post-friendly Wemby, some shakes, working out of the post. He's still working sometimes out of the 3 as well. And we've been hearing all summer, oh, they have all these guys that all they do is slash. And it's you mean the same formula that worked for Shaq back in the day? Don't tell me that's not going to work in the modern day NBA.
Well, there was multiple. You're good. Go for it, Tom.
I want to build on this. So one of the plays that jumped out in that Heat game was he caught it in the post with Jaquez behind him, and as soon as he's catching the ball, he's spinning into a lefty dunk. Right? It's that quick processing, that quick decision making, that premeditation, right? Which has been there honestly since the very beginning of his career. I still think about that game in Houston where he premeditated murdered Dylan Brooks
and pointed at him
and gave him the shimmy shake, right? Yes, amazing, right? But so we're seeing him get so much more comfortable with that. And Zach, you brought up earlier that play where he put his shoulder down into
Nurkic,
who was Nurkic, and we've seen more of that. He's 240 now. He's being a little more physical. He bumped Bam off him in that Heat game before he made one of those ridiculous passes. But I think the thing that is most frightening as I'm watching him, because he'll start with the ball at half court, right? He'll go coast to coast with the rebound. He'll play like a guard until he gets down low, right? And then he'll get back to the basket or pick up his dribble. When he picks up his dribble, he can still create the space of an extra step with how long he is, right? And we have seen him use that to great effect already in this preseason. So the decision making and the understanding of his own body and the way that he can use it to create advantages is like, it should be scary.
One thing there was 2 plays
you gonna
last
say,
night that really caught my attention in the post. They happened back to back, and it was against Nurkic, who's obviously a bigger big in the league. Wemby went right at him, one dribble, spin, nice finish in the lane. Came back down again, caught the ball just above the free throw line. They had a smaller guy on him. So it's been the issue that Wemby had to figure out how to, play with these smaller, bigger frame guys on him that can get up into him. Okay, what does he do? Patient, dribbles 3 times, backs him down, puts his weight into him. And once again, no one can contest his shot once he gets them off their step. And he just easily raises up, nice little mid-range right at the free throw line. And you're like, okay, I think he's starting to figure out this patience, where the doubles are going to come from. And also, he's understanding his body a lot more in these situations and realizing that if I put my shoulder on this guy, I'm moving him 2 feet back. That's the 2 feet I need just to raise up easily and get to a spot. And that's what I'm going to see a lot of this year.
Hakeem has even said that he's got a hook shot.
Oh, no.
Bro, that's scary
Kareem vibes or what?
And we know
this was in that Michael Wright article.
We know that Hakeem Olajuwon is very selective about who he works with as well. So yeah, really, really, really cool to see that. And with more Wemby post stuff, that can only help. All right, so I think that's a pretty solid and in-depth conversation of the basketball that we have seen on the court. But let's get into the mystery, the future, the what comes next. And we've got more questions than answers in that respect. So should we ask some of those questions? Should we see what questions are coming to the top of the mind for each of us as we head into the season?
Yeah. These are
I got some questions.
Yeah, we should say this is a great place for you, the viewer and commenters and listeners, to also throw down your questions you have coming into the season. None of us, once again, it's just preseason. We don't really have the answers for these, but these are questions that we kind of want to keep track of throughout the season as of now. Maybe we'll get some answered quickly. Maybe we won't. So, yeah, Zach, take away. What are some of your questions for the season?
4 questions I would like to, ask, whatnot. So, how does Mitch Johnson, obviously first full year at the helm, handle this new look Spurs team that's shown that there's a lot more depth on this bench this season than there's been in the last few seasons? That's my main. It's not a concern. It's a great thing to have. With the amount of bigs in the front court that this team has, the back court situation that the team has. There's a lot of good battles that are obviously going on in camp, and I'm sure that Mitch is chomping at the bit, realizing there's a lot of lineups that he can throw out there. Another one I have is, how soon will we see the impact on these new additions for the coaching staff? I think Tom mentioned earlier the defense that the team has shown to start preseason. Obviously, it's not a full sample size, but they brought in 2 defensive guys, 3 really, with Scott King as well, who was a great defensive coach in the G League last year. Which I think maybe that's a question that's answering itself pretty quickly. Another one is, who ends up being the best 3-point shooter on the team this year? We talked about these guys shooting, whatnot. And then my final question, and this is kind of just a funny, put your answer in the comments down below. Can we find a better nickname for Cornet and Wemby? The French vanilla is nice, but I think it is a little too bland. We can come up with some better.
Would you say it's too vanilla?
There you go.
You are, Zach. So here's the thing. We're the Silver and Black Coffee Hour, right? I'm a barista, right? It's you're only going to get this here. But does anybody know, either of you know the difference between vanilla and French vanilla?
Here we go. Tell us, Tom. This is your time to shine.
Lack of processing sugars.
So it's using French vanilla uses an
Okay.
egg custard base for a richer, fuller flavor. And I think that that makes French vanilla a pretty perfect nickname for this duo because yes, Wemby obviously not vanilla, but you get that rim protection from him, right? You get that interior presence from him. The addition of Luke Cornett makes it a much more full-bodied,
Okay.
richer interior experience for
And
this team. So for these
Okay.
reasons, I
Okay.
think that French
and
vanilla
and
is safe.
I'll allow
speaking
it.
and speaking of full bodied, I mean, if Luke Cornett's in the game, like he's basically hitting everybody on the other team at some
Oh,
point.
yeah.
So to
Yeah.
Tom's point,
Cam Scadaboo vibes.
maybe with a little less
Let's
CTE.
hope.
Jesus Christ, I'm not sure Cam Scadaboo is going to be able to form a
That
sentence by
guy-
the end of the season.
Him and Dark
With
just
no
headbutting
helmets.
each other in the locker room for fun.
The Bash Brothers of the
helmets
NFL, just
on.
like, oh my god. Also, yeah, Zach, you were saying earlier in the show, like we got to like keep the brand strong. French vanilla falls very
It
in
does.
line with the
It
brand
does.
of
It
the
does.
silver
It
and black
does. It
coffee.
does.
at
I was just
Harper.
asking if we can come up with something. Just a question. It's not a doesn't need to be answered. It's just a question. Right.
We'll put our creativity hats
I didn't
on.
need to answer that question ahead of the preseason. Here I go. Tom,
If we get
There
a
you
better
go.
one, I'll be surprised.
Tom, what are your questions?
Okay, so for me, first of all, when everybody's healthy, what is the ideal starting lineup for this team and closing lineup for this team? And that
Right.
answer may change throughout the year, depending on who's hot, who's not, what the matchup is, what the team needs in that specific opening or closing of the game. What's going to be the best lineup for this team? There are so many different input variables for this that we could get a ton of different answers. Harrison Barnes, I think a lot of people had pegged as a starter right out of the gate. He, after a really, really amazing shooting season last season, I think he's at like 17% from three in the preseason, which obviously I expect him to rebound. But like, if he's not doing that at an extremely high level, do we see changes there? Is there a deadline deal for this team? I think that the Olynyk acquisition definitely made that a little bit more. That's a card in their hand if they want to do a consolidation deal, because we've talked all show about how deep this team is. But Aaron brought it up before. You don't win a championship because you're 15 deep. You win a championship because your top 10 is really stacked, right? So is there a consolidation deal to be made?
You get through the regular season
Um,
with 12 to
I think that-
15. Yes, like to your point, Tom. Like,
Correct.
yeah, it's a long ass season.
Yeah, you need bodies.
Totally.
For sure. But the Spurs have so many bodies at this point where it's like maybe you trade a few of those guys for one guy who makes an even more outsized difference on the team. I'm interested to see what the identity of a Mitch Johnson coach team is with him fully in control out of the gate. And I really, really, really want to know, this is the big one, right? How close is Wemby to legitimate MVP? He's going to be in contention. How close is he to being the MVP? So I think that the answers to those questions will dictate a lot for this Spurs team. Aaron, what about you?
I have a lot of questions for this team, and I'm excited about most of them already. First question is for you, Mr. De'Aaron Fox. I got your back. My name's Aaron. Your name's De'Aaron. We are name brothers almost. De'Aaron Fox.
Y'all cousins.
Name cousins.
Yeah,
at least.
we're named cousins. Can't wait to like drop that on him at a at a presser. De'Aaron, being your name cousin,
He's like, what are you talking about?
you're like, I do not know who you are. But De'Aaron Fox, will you shut your haters up? Tom, to your point, and maybe answering a little bit on that closing lineup question, Aaron Fox was named the first clutch player, got the first clutch player award in the NBA. I think he is ready. He's going to be ready to like say some things. I think that's further why he was chomping at the bit during media day to play. Second question.
I got to run inside, fellas. The rain's coming
Oh,
down
okay.
a little bit. Keep going, AB.
Second question I have is for you, Mr. Jeremy Sohan. So stand up. We love you. Is this shot improvement real? Did the training, the off the bounce this summer come through? I want to see it. Because we are some of the biggest Jeremy Sohan believers here. And Carter Bryant is showing some very similar skills to that of being a dog. So there is actually a part of me that wants to see a lineup where we just go full on defense mode and just be like, maybe we're going to score 2 points, but you're going to score negative 10.
Or you can play soccer or what?
I don't know how that's I don't know how that's going to happen, but you are not going to score. Dylan Harper. There's a great jock jams out there that starts with this question. You ready for this? So, Dylan, I mean, I think a little bit last night you were already answering the question that like ready to showcase yourself, but regular season's going to be a real thing. I think he's going to probably at some point, just because of the way the season goes, get some starter minutes, but I'm excited to see him come off the bench, specifically with Luke Cornett. Could there have been a better dude to be learning from during that time? Mitch Johnson, I have the same question as everyone else, specifically around his rotations. What is going to be his imagination with the offense and defense? And, frankly, are we going to be in the same kind of pop level of like, no, we have to get 20 games of data to like really know if this works or not. I'm fascinated, and I use stubbornness here not as a dig at Coach Pop. It was one of the reasons that he was successful as a coach. But is that same kind of team infrastructure there for that stubbornness with Mitch Johnson coach teams? And then my last question for the alien, Mr. Victor Wembanyama. Are you ready to anoint yourself as the best player in basketball? There is a way this season goes, to Tom's point, with MVP voting, that if one Wemby is healthy and shows out that he is the story of the league, even if the Spurs are anywhere from a 4 to a 6 seed, I
1000%.
think a 4 seed like probably cements him as an MVP candidate, but he's got a lot of competition out there. He's still got Jokic, he's still got Giannis, he's still got Shea, he's got Luka, who's going to be on his own revenge path tour. So I'm very curious to see Wemby in the regular season, up his game. So those are my questions. And then, we're all about progress within our within being humans here, learning from our past mistakes. And the Spurs we found to be a pretty progressive organization when it comes to the development of their team. So what areas of growth do you guys want to see from the team or from an individual player? And Tom, what do you got first?
So, I think I just got an Occam's razor this one. And what's the simplest thing that like, we saw the potential of last year and want to see continue? And it's the most important thing. The Wemby and Fox duo only had like 7 games together last year. This is Wemby's team. That team has invested heavily in De'Aaron Fox with the trade and offseason extension to make him his running mate. It's easy to see why. The on-paper pairing, the on-court pairing is very potent. Their stated goal is to become the best pick-and-roll duo in the league. And I think they can achieve that goal rather quickly. And I think that is going to be the driver of success for this team.
Zach, what you got? What do you want to see
I've
this
said it
year?
for years. 3-point shooting needs to turn a corner this year. it needs to be a positive for this team. It needs to be something that they can use as an outlet to keep space for this team, to keep space for Wemby, to keep teams honest, to keep teams from dropping 4 dudes in the paint and making life hell and making the Spurs shoot. That's what every team has done the last 2 years against the Spurs, is force you to shoot the ball. And I think this season it's going to be a positive for the boys.
For me, thinking back to what Mitch Johnson was saying, that this team will be in the reflection of Victor. I want to see defensive cohesion. That is, I think, the biggest growth. I think we've also seen the team double down on defense. At the end of the day, if we're the Orlando Magic last year, where like, okay, we can't shoot a three, but like you were in a dogfight every night, I don't think any of us are going to be upset about that. I think the national media will, but that's their problem to deal with.
Not us media.
And so, yeah, and what I want to say to that too is that I really thought last night was pretty emblematic of some of that defensive cohesion. They're doing so much better on communicating on screens and rotating over. And it doesn't matter if it's Wemby out on the perimeter and someone else is there. Like, they have long bodies everywhere. We saw this a lot last year where I was like, hey, Chris Paul is on the floor. Make sure he gets in the post. That's an easy 2 points, So defensive cohesion is probably the biggest area of growth I want to see this year. I have one more question for you guys before we get into our season predictions to wrap up the show today. So in the past, the Spurs have been known to put their young players through the fire. Previous to 2 years, it was Jeremy Sohan with the Point Sohan experiment. Last year, it was Stephon Castle basically being a jackknife player, being told to be put in starter, being closing out games, coming off the bench, any and everything. Stephon Castle did it. So who do y'all want to see this year go through that, or what do you think it'll be? So Zach, I'll let you cue us off first.
I don't think it's going to be one specific player. I think the last few seasons have allowed these young players to grow without too much on their plate, too much pressure of winning, but just like improving their craft and getting better at their game. This season's different. I think the type of fire that the Spurs are going to be playing with is going to be hot. They're going to be in some big games that matter a lot. And I think this whole team will improve and grow from these moments. I think it's hard for me to point out one player or two players with this roster that's like, oh, they're going to improve because they're going to get a bunch of run. I think this whole team is going to be put in position to either make or break. And they're all going to grow. And I think that's a great thing for this team and for the future of this franchise as well, is these young players. We mentioned it. Keldon Johnson is the longest tenured player at 26 years old. So there is going to be a lot of fire that the Wemby down the stretch, games that matter. De'Aaron Fox proving people wrong. Dylan Harper getting real run with real meaningful minutes with a team that's going to be competing for a playoff spot. Steph Castle, same thing. Jeremy Sohan, same thing. A lot of these guys are going to get thrown into fire that hasn't really been around for the Spurs. So it's going to be a fun season. I think there's going to be a lot of growth for everybody, to be honest.
So, Zach, you think just the entire team is going to develop?
That's the way it should. Yeah. I mean, to be completely honest, I think with the way that the team has been built over the last few seasons, there hasn't been too much pressure on these guys. And we've heard Keldon Johnson talk about, we know expectations. We're not running from the expectation this year. There is growth to be done. And I'm sorry that's the easy way out, but that is just the way I look at it. It's like, yo, there's a lot of fire that these guys are walking into, and that's just what it's going to be.
That's fair. That's fair. Tom, do you have someone more specific that you think will be put through the fire this year?
Sure. I mean, but what he's talking about, though, is an interesting dynamic, right? Where like this team, obviously the play style is different from Spurs of yesteryear, but like this is the first time a player, top 2 pick in the draft, like Dylan Harper, is coming into a team with expectations, right? It's not like when the Spurs were perennial title contenders, they were getting decent rookies, but like it was a big deal that Kawhi Leonard cracked the rotation as a rookie. You know, it's when Wemby came in, it was like, yeah, he's going to be amazing, but this team is like not going anywhere for a little bit. So now you have a player as talented as Harper, who is going to be expected to play on a team that is expected to win. So that's going to be a really interesting test for him. And then I'm also really interested to see, like, does Carter Bryant earn a spot in this rotation? If so, what effect does that have on the rest of the rotation? Um, I've loved what I've seen from Bryant this preseason. The confident shot making, a little bit of off the dribble stuff, good defense, all of that. Um, but at the same time, it's like, you know, do we sort of go back to the more like contending Popovichian, trust your vets. So it'll be really interesting to see how it shakes out for these very, very talented rookies. But they're the ones that I'm most interested to see how it works out for.
I think Stephon Castle is maybe the one that is going to probably be put through it again this year. From like an individual level, I agree with y'all that like expectations have probably not been this high in 6 years. So it's that's like pre-COVID that the Spurs have had this type of expectation for further kind of context. So, but he seems like the one we still need to understand, like, did that shot come along this summer? The physicality that he showed in all of his various videos over the summer, how does that translate? And how does that work between him and Fox and him and Harper, and then all three of them on the court together? The other one, and I'll just kind of echo Tom's point here. It looks like Carter Bryant is actually kind of doing this already as far as like being a part of the Spurs development program. The dude is getting run in the first half with some of the starters and main rotation guys. And then he's also playing with the dudes that are on the back end of the bench through the better portions of the second half and an OT last night. They seem to just be like, Carter Bryant, we just want you to get used to getting minutes again, because that's not what he had at Arizona. He didn't play, that much. So, and if his thing is just like, we just want you to play basketball more, I mean, that's great. So, last one here before we wrap this up, fellas. Man, we're preseason and we're still going over an hour. Just shows you our dedication to our craft and our love of this team.
Well, no, we just finally have basketball to talk about over the last whatever months.
Brother, when we didn't have basketball, we would go over.
We go two if we wanted to today.
Yeah, it's probably true. All right, man. Season predictions. All right, we kind of talked about this, but now we got like some data, some empirical evidence for ourselves. All right. What do we got, fellas? Where are you standing on business before the season begins? And speaking of standing on business, I'll kick us off because I'm not standing on business.
No, he's not.
All right.
He's backtracking.
I think we're probably going to be in that 7-8 range, high end of the play-in tournament. And the reason I say that is because the West really is stacked. We got a Warriors team that is going to be doing their own little last dance. It'll be interesting to see the Lakers, especially this morning. There was a little news about like LeBron once again eyeing the situation. What's going to happen? Timberwolves are available, and Anthony Edwards has apparently been working on his post game. After last year, he came into the season saying he was working on his 3-point shooting and then became the best 3-point shooter in the league. So he's a pretty good player, that Anthony Edwards. The Nuggets got better just by acquisition of Cam Johnson and Jamal Murray saying that he's healthy. So there's a lot of teams here. The Clippers investigation will not wrap up until probably after the All-Star break, where, by the way, Adam Silver, the All-Star game is in LA. So what I'm saying is there's just going to be a bunch of jumbled up stuff. So we might be close to that high 40 win, number, but the difference is going to be split between like 2 and 3 games. And that difference is it's going to be it. So I would rather go low and be surprised if we're higher. So I'm going to say 7th seed.
Okay, I'll take that.
What do you got? What do you got, Zach?
I think this team will shock some people around the league. Obviously, they know about Wemby, and he's been a one-man. Not to discredit the players on this team, but he's been sort of a one-man band over the last few years, especially this rookie year. And then, he had some help going into last year, and we saw a little bit of that. But I think he actually, and I think I may have tried to be funny here, but I think we got a little jam band here, guys. I think we got a bunch of dudes that you could throw on the stage, give them a different instrument to play, and they're gonna succeed and make this full band sound great. What's the hand up?
Speaking my language, brother. Yes.
So I think we
yes.
gotta,
Lindy Waters rocking a Grateful Dead
there
shirt.
you go.
Lindy Waters, come on the show. We can talk about Europe 72, man. And if he doesn't know what that is and was just wearing it for the t-shirt, we can talk Grateful Dead t-shirts too. I'm here.
I think we just got a little jam band this year. I definitely think they'll shock some teams. A lot of moving parts, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of pieces that can play together. I think they go over the win total than Vegas predicts, and that's my prediction this year.
So where are we standing at the end of the season?
I think
seed?
49 to 50 wins is going to be a great season for this team. And you mentioned a lot of these great teams that are in the West. I'm not discrediting that, but I know that the Spurs have some dogs on this team that have some fire underneath them and that want to prove themselves. And I think that goes a long way in this league. You see how these young teams that get going early and get this momentum, and it's like, okay, we're a lot better than people thought, and we're gonna keep putting it in people's faces. And with Wemby being there,
So
5th seed.
So 49, 40. Okay, 5th seed.
Fifth
There we
seed.
go. Not 10th seed.
5th
5th
seed.
seed.
I was gonna do like a TH, but it wasn't gonna work out, so I didn't have enough hands for that. So 5th seed.
Zach pleads the 5th seed. So, Tom, what do you got for this for your season prediction on this team?
Aaron, if you're not standing on business, I can only assume you're falling on leisure.
I am a leisurely person, so yeah.
But same. I'm with you there. I always want to find the opposite of stuff if I can. It's a fun little linguistic exercise. But assuming good health, I think this is a 45 to 55 win team.
55.
And the 3-point shooting will be the swing factor. I mean, that's the
Right.
that's the bell curve for me. I don't think it's going to be 55. I don't think it's going to
Right.
be 45. I think it's going to be somewhere in the
And
48 to 50.
I love positive Petrini, dude.
Positive Petrini, baby.
This is what we haven't had. I mean, not Tom is always a positive person, but especially when it comes to Spurs basketball, there were so many times last year where we'd come in the studio after a win, Tom, prisoner of the moment, man. We're going 4-0 this week. It's so good, and I love it. I love to see it again.
But I mean, you were right, Aaron, that it's going to be tight in the West, right? But the way that it was tight in the West last year was there was a bunch of teams right around that 50 win mark, So if that 3-point shooting is right and all of the other stuff comes along, we're already seeing it come along, I don't see a reason why this team wouldn't be guaranteed top 6 seed in the playoffs. I think they're going to be a lot harder to beat than, people are maybe giving them credit for out of the gate. And not going to lie, a lot of this is just being very, very high on Luke Kornet and the impact that he's going to have on this team in filling in all of the gaps that made last season so up and down, even with the relative health of the team. A full season with Fox and Wemby and a backup center and these young guys coming into their own. I'm excited. I'm optimistic.
What other Spurs podcast out there are you going to hear I'm excited because of the backup center? This is sicko mode here. And Tom, to your point, I agree. And I'm going to quote you back, Occam's razor.
the reason to be excited for this team is Victor Wembanyama. I imagine that by January, we are going to be so. I mean, we'll be scrambling on the show. Like, what is a new way we can talk about how awesome this guy is? Like, looking up fucking synonyms for like. I can't just keep saying
He's great.
This is great. I've never seen this before. Oh my god.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
gotta
We'll
brush
just,
up
we'll
on
just,
our
yeah.
French. We
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
talk French like Americans.
All right, we'll get
about
the
him.
Silver and Black Coffee Hour corporate account to expend some Duolingos for us. Get on that French-ish. So, from the French Vanilla Boys, I think we've reached the end of our show today. Man, this was really great, y'all. There is a palpable energy, even though we are not in person, of our collective excitement for this team. I did get my new camera, so by the time the regular season begins, we'll be back in studio. I just want people to know that this is literally just, we're still a little bit in off-season mode here. We still just got some travel to take care of. You will see hopefully at least one of us at every home game this year. So I want y'all to be on the lookout for us, say hi. If we want to do a video segment together with fans, you're goddamn right we'll do it. So, y'all, I'm hyped. We got, the Johnny Furphy revenge game on Monday with the Pacers.
Don't want to get dunked on by that
That'll
white
be
boy.
fun. He's pretty good. But with that being said, this has been your friendly neighborhood San Antonio Spurs podcast reporting from Austin. Zach, what do you got to tell the people before we dip today?
Great weekend, beautiful weather outside. Be safe. Tell everyone you love them, and just have a great time. And vote for Project Marvel.
Tom, what do you got?
Be nice to people. Get a bacon, egg, and cheese. Go Spurs,
Hey.
go.
Go Spurs, go. UT, I hope you guys do well today against OU. We're probably putting this out on Sunday, so I might be in a different mood tomorrow, but we'll see. Anyway, we will see y'all soon. Don't fully know yet the timing, but we will be within the next week or so for a show right before the season. And then right before the season, for those that have listened this far, we're going to have an interview with someone a part of the organization. We're going to keep that under the lid right now. Hopefully have some more interviews with people soon too. So keep a lookout, like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your goddamn enemies. Let's make some friends. Let's build some coalitions. Let's love on each other. Peace out from the Silver and Black Coffee Hour, y'all.